So our first game tonight is a really cool game for those of you that enjoy retro-style games. You're going to meet Connor Van Dyke from Major Games, who will present BiT Evolution. Where's Connor? All right, Connor.
Perfect. Start the slideshow. All right, so as he said, my name is Connor Van Dyke, and I'm here to represent our game, BiT Evolution. So, BiT Evolution is a 2D platforming game that actually right now, I believe, right now it's number 28 in Steam Greenlight. We are basically developing this game for PC, Mac, and Sony platforms, and it's going to be released later this year. So, when we started making this project, it basically consisted of me and two other guys that just talked up on a forum and were saying like, yeah, we want to make a game, we love retro platformers and stuff like that. And despite these guys, like two of these guys being over in England, we connected just across the seas, worked for 3 months, and developed the idea of the game and got most of the stuff that you'll see tonight available and ready to go for you guys to play. It was kind of an interesting experience working with these people over a long distance, but it really just sort of goes to show just how easy it is to work with these remote teams nowadays with the internet as it stands. As the game is right now, we are currently in full production. We picked up basically production about a month ago with the help of Rupert Magnot back there with, Rupert, raise your hand, with Burnout Game Ventures. We're working with his company to really just push this game out the door and get it ready for everybody to play it in the next couple months. So, what's interesting about this game is quite a few things actually. First is the implementation of a dual world. In the game, whenever you go and die, instead of simply killing off the player, you are instead transported to the Realm of Code. The Realm of Code is essentially an alternate universe in which the landscape and the enemies that you experience will be different from that you see in the rendered world. Using this, you're able to bypass certain obstacles that might be in the way in your normal gameplay, and sort of gives a risk-reward of the players maybe seeing a difficult part in the rendered universe, killing themselves in order to try and get forward in the game and bypass the difficult stuff in the rendered universe. The trick to this is if you die in the Realm of Code, you are reverted and sent back to the beginning of the stage. In addition to these type of features, the Realm of Code also includes like code tidbits and things like that that the player can activate in order to affect the rendered universe in the future. So, sort of an example that I had to show this is on the bitevolutiongame.com website. Just to show like the alternate universe, I just wanted to show this because I've spent way too many hours just sliding this thing back and forth now. But you can kind of see that like in this path here, BiT is blocked from being able to jump up this path. It's just too high for him to get. But if he goes and dies, he enters the Realm of Code, which you can see that there's now a path for him to enter and get through and get up onto that ledge. So you can return to the rendered world by reaching the portals that you see up here, and that'll return you to the rendered world at any given point. So back to the PowerPoint. Another key feature of this game is the evolving graphical style. As you progress through the game, you start out as a puck from just a simple Pong game that escapes the Pong playing field and learns to jump, move, and essentially become what you see in most normal platformers. He escapes from the Pong universe and then evolves himself into the Atari universe, the Commodore 64 universe, the NES universe, and the SNES universe, with potentially other universes to come. So, as he evolves, it's more than just the graphical style of the worlds that changes. BiT himself changes in the abilities that he has and the way that he's able to move around the world. So this really opens it up to a wide variety of gameplay that we're able to access, evolving from gameplay similar to Super Mario Bros. All the way up to things that you might see in games like Super Metroid, so heavy evolution over the course of the game. So, with Pong, we just started it out on the menu, simple little, when you start the game, it's a very simple little cutscene little play. The Pong puck will fall to the ground and you're able to move off and jump, eventually get the tutorial stage in order to move through. In the Atari world, we really looked to focus a little bit more on games like Jungle Hunt and Pitfall. And probably the first thing that many people may notice is this looks pretty good for an Atari game. And we did this because when we originally started with very core, we wanted to make it exactly as you played in the Atari days. And we just found that it wasn't fun. Games have evolved a lot since Atari, and we really took the color palette, the size of the sprites, and things like that, and used that as our core benefit, especially on the earlier levels, just to give it a really, I guess, polished experience that gamers can actually enjoy instead of struggling through the old pitfalls and stuff like that in order to get to the good stuff. Once you get to the Commodore 64, it starts to evolve a little bit to if anybody's played the Dizzy games, they're not as popular here, but especially over in England, where the other two people on the team works, it's sort of a really big game that you'll see over there. So they were very insistent on us trying to get some of these Dizzy gameplay in there, where you've got sliding screens and stuff like that, and the additional gameplay features like moving screens going up and down instead of just left to right. You can also see how it kind of evolved a little bit there with now he's got arms and legs in this mode. You then proceed onto the NES, which is very akin to Super Mario Bros. 3 or so. So again, the high end of the NES quadrant, so we tried to push it to the very limits of what each system can handle. And with that, we include even more just diversability to the game, like power-ups and things like that. And then it evolves all the way to the Super Nintendo, where you've got an arm cannon you're able to shoot, basically full reign of your environment. It's just really fun to see how the game evolves as time goes on. So today we've got the Atari Alpha demo for you guys to play over there after the presentations. It's essentially just the early Atari levels, hand-picked ones that we specifically think are fun to play, and they're pretty challenging. It's definitely Nintendo hard, old school games, so it's tough. But you can also download this game from the webpage after the presentation if you're not able to play it today. That webpage is bitevolutiongame.com, and definitely if you're not able to check it out over there, check it out at home. It's a lot of fun. So, I'm going to play it from Windows Media Player anyways, so let's get this working here. Before questions, I will leave you guys with a quick trailer of the title. Once we have audio that we can...
It's on.
It's on. I'm turning it up just a little bit. Okay. That's what we got.
We have time for some Q&A. Any questions?
Do you want me to start throwing money at you now? Once the game comes out?
Soon. We're hoping to release the game before the end of the year, so for now, the best thing that can be done to really help us out is going to the Steam Greenlight page and voting for us there. Despite we're in the top 25 right now, so we'll probably make it through, but just giving us that extra assurance that we can make it through in the next push on Greenlight and make sure we can get it to you guys as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I'm the money guy, by the way. So, crap.
No problem.
Alright. So,
Take your time.
The game's so good she's speechless.
that's it.
All right. Yeah, if you think.
Okay.
Oh.
Alright, so this game is based on, when we were developing this game, you had experience with the Atari and the NES. For someone like me, when I started gaming, I dived straight into PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't remember playing SNES at all, but how's like the Atari to Commodore, to someone like me, how's the gameplay going to be? Like,
You know, and we really consider this because when it does come down to the population, there is a large amount of people who are very young who play games right now. So we tried to make most of the gameplay very familiar to even people who haven't played a lot of these old games. Like, for example, what I was talking about with the Atari. The old Atari games just do not resonate with most people nowadays. So we tried to give it as much of a modern feel as we can while still retaining some of the uniqueness of the game. So it's definitely still fun, even if you haven't played the consoles that they were originally based on. The back there?
This game strikes me as very similar to another game called Land, which does a very similar thing with RPGs. And I could go into the ages of there.
Yeah. Oh.
Two of the criticisms, though, that I found with that game is that its length is very short, and two, its challenge is not quite as strong. I guess my question is, like, do you have like any things in place like challenge maps or something that are designed for this game?
Yeah, probably the biggest difference between us and Land, because I've seen that game and I didn't play through the entire thing because frankly I got bored. But the big thing that we tried to focus on is where they kind of focused a little bit more on the evolving graphical style aspect. We really dove into this first and foremost as a gameplay experience. We built the gameplay from the ground up first, not really caring at all about how it's going to evolve over time, and just trying to make it a solid experience using things like the dual world mechanic. And we have additional challenges that the players can complete, such as collectible pixels that are hidden throughout all of the worlds that you can try to go through and basically try to collect all 20 of the pixels in each world that span both the realm of code levels and the rendered world parts. So it really makes it a challenge to sometimes have to go back into the realm of code in certain areas to really experience and find where all the pixels might be. So we do add sort of that extra gameplay element into it there. And we're hoping to make this game a decent amount longer than, I wouldn't say a decent amount, but at least long enough that it feels like a complete game. I think the hardest thing with Land was the fact that it was an RPG-based game that only lasted like 4 hours or something like that, where most traditional RPGs nowadays are going up in the 20, 30, 40-hour range, so it really had a hard time there. But I think they had some cool ideas in there. Again, I like to stress that we really focus on gameplay first, and that the evolution is just sort of the flavor that we add on top of the juicy steak. Let's go salmon-colored shirt.
Salmon? That's salmon. This is red. Can you lose? You said when you die you go to another stage?
Yep, so when you die in the rendered world, you are transported to the realm of code. But then if you die in the realm of code, you're reverted back to the beginning of the level or to the last checkpoint that you reached. Right, and then you had one next to him?
Yeah, what kind of tools did you use to coordinate with the guys overseas?
Pretty much just Skype, and we used another service called Trello, which was decent for the time, but since then I found websites such as teamwork.com are even more beneficial in just being able to coordinate all of your efforts online. I use it on this and another project. So it really helps to have those internet-based services that you can list out all the tasks using Skype to communicate with other people. It's really was an interesting experience working overseas like that.
Time for one final question.
One final? In the back there.
I was actually just curious what game engine you use and what like art program did you use for the pixel art?
I've gotten this question a couple times now tonight already. Actually, we used GameMaker Studio for the engine. Yes, we were originally looking at, well actually I've created this game already in Unity, C++, like from the ground up, and GameMaker Studio. So I've rebuilt this game 3 times now. And the thing that we decided to go with GameMaker for was it's a very easy to use engine that allows us to really develop our ideas and prototype a lot faster than engines like Unity do in 2D. Unity is a great engine for 3D games, but once you start getting into pixel art especially, it just has a lot of issues that you have to really deal with, like creating like tile maps and things like that. It just really starts to give you a lot of limitations that GameMaker allows you to work a lot easier. Yep. Oh, and for the pixel art stuff, I do not know that off the top of my head. I've used Photoshop whenever I've touched things up, but I know our pixel artist has used something else.
All right, thank you, Connor.
Yep.